Well, the tussle over who is the rightful Emir of Kano has continued, with the state government poised for a showdown with the deposed Emir of Kano, Ado Bayero, warning that it only recognizes Sanusi as Emir following Thursday's controversial court ruling that has polarized even senior lawyers across the country. While Justice Mohammed of the Federal High Court in Kano had nullified the decisions of Governor Abba Yusuf taken last month, where he held that the defendants were aware of an interim order previously granted by the court but chose to ignore it and implemented the Kano Emirates Council Law 2024, senior lawyers like Femi Falana, a human rights lawyer, says the judgment of the court is a bit, quote, confusing, as the Supreme Court had issued two separate judgments limiting the powers of the federal court on matters of traditional institutions. Now, it ruled that being a chief is not a fundamental right, and issues of chieftaincy should not be entertained by a federal high court. Others, like renowned law professor Chidi Odinkalu, also questioned the judgment, while some other lawyers described Justice Liman's judgment as a welcome development to curb the alleged excesses of Governor Abba Yusuf. And this is just as the Kano government has ordered the Commissioner of Police in the state to remove the deposed Emir Ado Bayero from the Gidan Nasara mini palace for trespassing, as the building is set for demolition and renovation. All right, to help us unpack the intricacies of the dilemma, we have joining us right now someone who is known within the special situation in Kano State. He's the special advisor to the governor on public relations, that's national and international public relations, Honorable Mohammed Yusuf. And later on in the program, I will be joined also by Senior Advocate of Nigeria to help us understand some of the issues. But let's start with you, Mohammed Yusuf. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and good day to all the viewers. Hoping everybody is enjoying a very wonderful Saturday. Yeah,
I mean, all right, so just help us out with the issues at the moment, the Kano state government's interpretation of the court judgment. I mean, lots of lawyers have been saying that it looks like the Kano state government is going on a very harsh measures, and that its own interpretation of Justice Liman's judgment is controversial as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for the opportunity to share my own views on this and opportunities of what the Kano state government stands for. On the 23rd of May 2024, the Kano State House of Assembly completed the amendment on repeal of the law, the chieftaincy law that was established in 2019, and it was brought forth to the governor of Kano State for assent, and the governor on the 23rd assented to that law. Concurrently, as he was assenting to that law, he signed the deposition of the 5 emirs and appointment of Sunusi, Lamido Sunusi. That exercise was concluded by 10 minutes exactly after 5 p.m. As at that moment when the Kano state government completed their process, there was no court order anywhere, no information about any court order stopping the state government. Of course, Kano state government is a law-abiding state, and wherever and whenever a court of competent jurisdiction issues an order, the state government will abide by that order. The exercise of presenting the appointment letter to the Emir of Kano, Sunusi, Lamido Sunusi, was held on the 24th of May 2024. It was during that exercise where the state governor consented that he had information via the social media that there was a court order flying around. But he questioned the veracity of the order, because according to the information available to the state government, the judge was far away on vacation in the United States of America. So he wondered, where can a judge who was already on vacation be issuing an order from the United States of America? That was why the governor, or rather the state government, was even having a doubt if that order was a real order or it's not even a real order, until on the 27th of May, that was on Monday, when the state government went to the court to find out if really there was an order.
Oh, it was the state government that went to the court to verify Okay.
Yes, it was not the court bailiff, to verify if there was an order, and they got the information there was an order, and they received that order. So that order came officially to the notice of Kano State Government on the 27th. So that action that was taken by the Lord Justice A.M. Lehman, he, in his own ruling, by the order or the judgment that he finally gave, he consented the validity of that order, of the law as amended. So by his acceptance of that law as amended, already the 2019 law was the law that balkanized the 5 Emirate. But the judge has consented the validity of the order, the 2024 amended law. So by accepting it, that 2024 law was the law that unified the 5 Emirates. So automatically, by consenting and accepting that that law is still valid, so there are no longer 5 Emirates in Kano State. And the action which the justice, in his own wisdom and from the information that we got from our lawyers, the action which the governor said after the state government has already known about the order was on the 24th. That was the ceremony of handing over the letter of appointment to Sunusi Lamido Sunusi. So based on that, that is why the state government is still saying Sunusi Lamido Sunusi MS2 the second is the Emir of Kano State.
Well, that has been very controversial because people are saying that Sunusi Lamido Sunusi has been deposed, and the Kano State government is choosing to disobey Justice Lehman's judgment.
Yeah.
But some other lawyers have said that from what they heard and read from the judgment of Justice Lehman, it actually said that the Kano State government was not patient enough to wait for his interim order that he had given. So in this instance, since there's a lot of controversy, shouldn't the Kano State government have wait for maybe a much more proper interpretation of what the judge was saying? Because if you read even in the Nigerian media, there's a lot of division. Some people are saying Sunusi Lamido Sunusi has been deposed. Others are saying it has not been deposed. And here you also must have heard Femi Falana saying that the judgment is confusing. So in this instance, what is giving the Kano State government the courage to go ahead with its own interpretation?
Well, let me tell you one thing. When you say the Kano State government is in a hurry, on the 23rd, when the Kano State government signed the law, which the judge accepted that that law is still valid, it was concurrently that the appointment of Sunusi Lamido Sunusi was made. So there was nothing, we have no information of any order at that particular time. So that is the pertinent issue that I want people to understand. It was during the ceremony of handing over the official letter for Sunusi Lamido Sunusi, His Royal Highness, to assume as the Emir of Kano, that the governor displayed the knowledge of the information of an order that he had within the social media. Yeah. So that is where...
So, but why is the judge now insisting? Because the judge kept insisting that the governor knew and yet he chose to disobey. And you are now saying that the governor did not know. He had already conducted the act before he got to know.
If you were in court that day, the judge said he listened to the audio of both the English and the Hausa translation of that order, where the governor of Kano State said he saw an order on social media. Of course, the governor said it publicly that he saw an order in social media, but he does not know if that order is genuine or it is not, because by the information he had, the judge is out of the country. So that is where the bone of contention is.
That's very controversial indeed.
And even at that, let me tell you one thing. Injunctions are usually granted to protect legal rights, not to obstruct the implementation of law held to be valid. And let me cite an example. There is no order that can be given from any court to stop the exercise or the performance of the constitutional role of the National Assembly. Neither can any court order stop the constitutional performance of the role of the courts.
All right.
So the same thing, you can't stop the executive from performing their own constitutional roles.
And Femi Falana is also adding to it.
And apart from even Femi Falana, let me cite Judge Lenin, one of the very famous and important judges that we have had in the history of the legal jurisprudence in the world. In the case UAC versus McFoy, he said you cannot put something on nothing, because it cannot stand. So that is where we are today.
All right. So Femi Falana's argument is that the federal high courts are not supposed to entertain issues of chieftaincy matters.
Yeah.
And that in this instance, the judge shouldn't have even entertained this. So do you intend to advance to the National Judicial Council to actually make a case that, since he claims that the Supreme Court already have 2 judgments where they issued that issues of chieftaincy matters should not be handled by federal courts, maybe the judge could have been wrong?
Well, you see, Section 251 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has made it very, very clear. The federal high courts are courts of limited jurisdiction. They are defined what the federal high court can do. The only area they can have extra things to do is when the National Assembly give them extra responsibilities for them to do. So it is clearly defined. Chieftaincy affair does not belong to them. Even in the famous case of Tukur versus Gongola, the Supreme Court Justice Obaseki of blessed memory clearly stated that you cannot entertain an ancillary matter, leaving the substantive matter, and you cannot give half a judgment by going on the issue of the fundamental human right, because the issue of fundamental human right only arises because there is an issue of deposition. So that makes it clearly that you are delving into a chieftaincy matter. So what the judge did is now left within the realm of the Court of Appeal to give their own interpretation of what the judge did. And by that, I will say I'm not going to dabble. I'm not a lawyer. Say more
because it's controversial actually, because the deposed emir is claiming that his rights were breached because there was nowhere he was sanctioned. He wasn't called to come and appear before any committee. And the Kano
let me tell you, it is not
the
emir is not a party to this suit before Justice Liman. It is only one of the kingmakers, Alhaji Aminu Babbadan Agundi, who is the only party to this suit. The emir is not a party to this suit. And funny enough, even before the judge, the whole matters that are before the judge, he has already dispensed the matter. The only matter that is still pending is the issue of the fundamental human right of Alhaji Aminu Babbadan Agundi, which he has already moved to the Court of Appeal, and he has transferred it to Court 3 for another judge to handle that particular matter. That's where we stand.
As we try to round off this conversation so that we'll have a senior advocate also hear his own view, talk to us about how the Kano State Governor, Abba Yusuf, seems to be coming vindictive against deposed Emir Ado Bayero. People say that the decision to actually send bulldozers to actually bring down the mini palace at Nasarawa is more out of anger rather than, trying to assert governance.
There is no bulldozer that was sent anywhere.
Well, there were photos flying around.
No, those photos were just
and the governor asked the commissioner of police in the state to actually go there.
Yeah, the governor asked that, but no bulldozer has been sent. The governor is taking stock of different structures of buildings, public buildings in the state that are being marked either for renovation or complete reconstruction. The Gidan Murtala is one of them, Asibitin Nasarawa, the hospitals, and inclusive the graveyard of the emirs. That is that particular palace that we are talking about.
Yeah, but why now? Why now?
Well, it doesn't matter. Governance is a continuum. And at any particular time, government can decide what they want to do. And nothing stops government from doing what they want to do. They can do it. We just changed our national anthem. Why are people not saying why now?
Is that why the federal government seems to be getting back at the Kano State government? Because, from our latest findings, the police seem to be guarding the deposed Emir Ado Bayero rather than actually guarding Emir Sanusi Lamido, who you claim is actually the substantive emir. So in this instance, it looks like the federal government is fully behind Emir Ado Bayero, while Emir Sanusi Lamido seems to be guarded by vigilantes and others. Isn't the Kano State government worried that despite its support for Emir Sanusi Lamido, it looks like the federal government is not backing it?
We don't know where exactly, I don't know exactly where the federal government stands in this particular matter, because I have not seen any agent of the federal government coming out to say this is the position of the federal government.
Yeah, but from the presence of security officers,
the police in Kano are rather giving more than enough protection to the deposed emir of Kano, Alhaji Aminu Ado Bayero. But luckily enough, the police commissioner of Kano has already come out to say they were just doing that because they are waiting for another court to give its own final judgment on the particular matter. And we respect that. But whatever, I must commend the security apparatus within Kano. Even with whatever they are doing, they are giving every cooperation to the state government in maintaining peace and order, especially at this time when we're having Aminu Ado Bayero staying in Kano, and by his being there in Kano, more tension is being generated. But the security apparatus have been working round the clock with Kano State government to ensure that lives and properties of people of Kano State are protected and maintained.
Well, and people keep asking, how can the Kano State government contain this, a situation where we have two emirs claiming one throne?
Well,
I mean, it's a novelty.
It's
under the NMPP-led state government.
Yeah, well, it's a matter of time. But what I can tell you, there is only one emir in Kano, and His Royal Highness Mohammed Sunusi II is the emir of Kano. The law has been repealed. It was that law that created 5 emirates, and that 5 emirates was what gave Aminu Ado Bayero 8 local governments. He is just an emir of 8 local governments, not an emir of Kano, just the emir of the 5 local governments from the Balkanized law of 1999, which the judge has consented that it is still valid, that law. With it being valid, of course, there is no 8 local governments for anybody to be emir. It is gone. There is only one emir of Kano State.
All right, Mohammed Jam, Yusuf, we must thank you so much for joining us to help us understand the issues. And we just hope that, you continue to play your role of being a government where there's maintenance of law and order. Well, he's the special advisor on national and international relations, public relations to the Kano State government. We must thank you so much for joining us to help us understand all of this. So.